All right, so what's up, y'all? Hopefully, I can explain myself well when I discuss this topic, but sometimes I feel like the show is going out of its way to try and prove that women equal good and men equal bad, and it's starting to make the woman character leads seem cornier than they have to be, right? Like, it's okay. It's all right if these women characters make violent, cruel, messed up decisions of their own volition, like, because that's human. It's human. And I think taking that away from them is actually doing the exact opposite of what you say you're trying to do with these female characters. It feels like they're getting dumbed down. Let's discuss. All right, so before we get into the video, my Patreon page is live. It's up. There you'll get Patreon exclusive videos, okay? One is already up there. I did a video talking about 10 cool shows that I think y'all need to watch. They're underrated. You probably have not heard of them, but I really, really enjoyed them. Only the patrons will be able to see that video. It's already up on my page. You'll get access to behind the scenes content, vote on the content topics. Also on Patreon, I did a dramatic reading of an excerpt of my upcoming book that will be self-published. It is a sequel, by the way, to Xeraxia Wrath of the God King. It's called Xeraxia The Vengeance of Coldwind. It will be out later this year. I'm going to make an audiobook of it as well. So the dramatic reading that is on Patreon is just to get a feel for what the audiobook will sound like. So yeah, very excited. Like I said, reaching 10K subs is really, really amazing. Can't thank y'all enough. Yeah, so to start the topic off, I should have known that I would be rolling my eyes really hard this season when one of the writers, Sarah Hess, apparently compared Rhaenys to Hillary Clinton. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss, girl get me out of here. But yeah, I think it's time we have this discussion. Like I said in my description, it took me some time to figure out just exactly what I was feeling about the situation, but now I think I can nail it down, right? So I think we should talk about how Toothless, the main girlies, feels sometimes. Now, I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but I think this whole issue really started probably when they decided to change how these Alicent and Rhaenyra, they ages and how they interact and all that stuff. But it probably started for me, right, when the showrunners pulled this whole, well, Alicent didn't really know that Viserys didn't change his mind. Alicent made an honest mistake. And it's just like, y'all already know how I think a lot of showrunners nowadays are obsessed with making every character likable or sympathetic. Some of them will go as far as making a character act completely out of character for the sake of trying to stay on the audience's quote unquote good side. Now, I think that they did the whole Alicent really thought Viserys actually changed his mind thing. She thought she was doing the right thing. I think they did that so that when she and the Green Council and Aemond started doing heinous things in the name of taking the throne, the audience wouldn't really have a reason to put full blame on Alicent because she, quote unquote, honestly believed that Viserys actually changed his mind. Now, this did not work for me at all from the jump, because it made Alicent seem really stupid. Like, girl, you cannot expect me to take you seriously when you're citing this dying man's senseless ramblings as the reason you decided to try and take the throne and usurp the throne. Like, you literally ignored his entire life of training Rhaenyra, making her cupbearer, all of that to suit your interests. To me, it just wasn't believable. It would be more believable if she used Viserys's end-of-life ramblings as an excuse, but then when she was asked behind closed doors, she says, oh, like Rhaenyra comes to her at a scepter or something, she goes, oh, like, oh yeah, no, girl, I know Viserys wanted to keep you, girl. Like, I know Viserys wanted to keep Rhaenyra. I just didn't care, you know? That, to me, makes so much more sense. But the show didn't play it like that. They played it like Alicent just had no idea and she's so innocent. So that when things clashed, it's like, well, see, both of them thought they were right. And side note, this is how centrists really think politics is. Like, everyone's right in their own way. To me, it's corny anyway, because somebody got to be wrong, babes. It's corny. Anyway, we can also talk about Rhaenyra, right? For example, apparently in the books, not only does Rhaenyra explicitly command the execution of Vaemond. It's not no slight head nod that we could barely see after rewatching the episode 100 times. Like, she explicitly commanded that Vaemond be executed. Not only that, but she also feeds Vaemond's body to Syrax. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I'm a book person. I'm like this deep book person. I do my research because I like the show and stuff, but just being honest here, I'm not no deep lore book person. But at the same time, it seems like the show is making these female characters somewhat toothless so we can see how terrible and atrocious men are. It's like the show is, which they are, right? It's like the show is saying, look, it's the men around them that are compelling them to act this way. They're not really, deep in their heart, they're not really vengeful or hateful or murderous or anything like that. It's the men. See, it's the men. And bro, it's like, we know that the men are evil and they're terrible and they're horrible in this world. Like, we know that. But to take away Rhaenyra's vengefulness and anger, like, man, they killed your son, and you walking around here like, let me go check. Let me really check if they really want to kill me. Let me really check if they really coming for me, girl. Let me take my ass all the way to King's Landing to see and sneak into this shit to see if they really want to kill me. Girl, they killed your son. They killed your son, or when y'all take away Alicent's hatefulness and jealousy and spitefulness to then say, oh, well, she really thought Viserys meant that Aegon should have the throne instead of Rhaenyra. And it's just like, I don't like that y'all are taking that evil, hateful, spiteful, jealousy, revenge, shit away from these characters, at least in the beginning of the story, whatever. But I'm just like, I don't like that y'all taking it away from them, the woman characters, because and then y'all are replacing it with this, oh, I'm so innocent, I didn't know, let's come together and sing kumbaya ass attitude. Like, doing that to me is really removing the agency and humanity from these characters. We already know that these characters a lot of times don't have agency underneath, or a lot of agency, a lot of autonomy underneath the patriarchal sexist systems that they live in, right? But to sit here and act like, oh, well, they're not going to have a reasonable human response to these things happening to them, and they're just going to wait and see. I got to double check, triple check with Daemon, got to talk about, oh, well, I don't really want this violence. Like, on Alicent's side, I really don't want this violence. Oh my gosh. And if we're going to have violence, it can't be wanton violence. It's just like, oh my God, we're at war. We're at war and family members are dying. So it's just, to make it seem like only the men, only Daemon, only like these vicious men would ever have like a nasty, cruel response to the war, to the bullshit that's going on around them, is to me is taking away the autonomy and humanity from these women characters. It is giving damsel in distress, is giving, in some cases, right, in some of these scenes that they write for Rhaenyra and Alicent, like a lot of times it's giving very much like, I'll be watching, I'm like, girl, you not mad? I'll be watching like Rhaenyra shit, like, you're not mad yet. And so sometimes I feel like sometimes like when these people write women characters, they see human responses, whether they be angry or cruel or violent. They see it as like, oh, well, we just gotta, if any of the characters are doing that, any of these things at all, that means that they're automatically not likable. They're automatically, the audience gonna turn against them. They're automatically not a sympathetic character. I'm just like, bitch, if y'all made me like Cersei after she blew the sept up, you know what I mean? You can make these characters, you can make these women characters make these decisions, and Daemon don't have to be the one always doing it. She commanded Vaemond to be executed, fed him to Syrax. Like, why are we not seeing that side of Rhaenyra? Why are we seeing Alicent flailing around instead of being this vengeful bitch that we need her to be? You know what I mean? Like this vengeful, hateful, jealous ass bitch that we need her to be. You know what I mean? Instead of, oh my God, oh, the violence. It's war, girl. What are you talking about? And so, yes, there is, like I said, there is a side of this where they do face challenges as women in the Westerosi society, right? But there's another side where it's just like, okay, they're human beings still. They're going to have reactions still. And it doesn't mean that they're evil and they're going off the deep end and they're not sympathetic. It's just, I don't know. Remember, I brought up Rhaenyra's council, right? I think the showrunners were trying to show us with Sir Alfred that, see, this is the sexism that Rhaenyra has to go up against. See, all the male politicians around her are undermining her. And it's just like, okay, you're showing me a part of Westeros, like, that we already know exists. We already know it's nasty and patriarchal and fucking sexist. Like, we know that. Why is Rhaenyra just sitting there and taking it for a whole half season? Why is she just sitting there and taking it from Sir Alfred, from anybody? You know what I mean? Even after her son has died, after Rhaenys has died, either y'all need to have the council act like they have some sense so that they're not even an issue in the plot, or show us how a woman of Rhaenyra's power, her experience, her trauma, show us how a woman like that would react to something like Sir Alfred going off on her, or the misogyny and sexism in her council, especially after y'all just spent all of season 1 showing us just how pissed young Rhaenyra was at all the gender roles and stupid sexism in society. If she was that pissed when she was younger, when Millie was playing her, like, if she was that angry when she had little power, show us what she would do. Show us who she would be with the power that she now has as a grown queen with a council of her own. Why would she be pulling any punches, especially on Dragonstone where she's sovereign, like she ruling? Like, why would she be pulling punches talking about, oh, Sir Alfred, do you like me? Do you like me? I don't know if you like me or not. Like, it's just not giving. Where is the human natural rage? A human response to all this shit is rage, right? Where is that? Instead of this tiptoeing around and, oh, I'm a woman and oh, but the men are evil. But it's just like, where is that righteous rage? Is it all going to come out at the end in a stupid, unreasonable ass way like it did with Daenerys? Like it did with Daenerys at the end of season 8? Like, is that where we're going, bruh? I don't know. Please let me know what you think about this topic, because like I was watching like the last half of season 1 and like all of season 2 is really giving me this like Toothless thing, you know? And so y'all already know I always present the topic to y'all. I'm just like, am I reaching? Am I doing too much? Or do y'all see what I'm saying? Y'all see what I'm saying? But yeah, the point is, I think that they're trying to show, well, you know, the men are just so evil. And they are, don't get me wrong. Like, they're evil, they're sexist, they're fucked up. But men are evil, and the only reason why Rhaenyra and Alicent are even acting this way is because they're being manipulated. And it's like, that's part of the reason that they're being forced into these corners by the patriarchy, right? Like, the sexism. Yes, that's part of the reason, but there's also a whole other side where they're making their own decisions and they're reacting in ways that might be seen as cruel or not, or violent or not, or they should be reacting in ways that are just fundamentally human, you know? Fundamentally human. So I don't know. Tell me what y'all think. Like I said, love y'all so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will check y'all out later. Peace. All right, y'all, make sure that you're going to www.zoraxia.com. When you join the wait list there on the site, you will be the first to be notified when I drop my sequel. Also, you'll immediately get chapter 1 of my upcoming sequel of the upcoming book sent to your email as a PDF. So check that out. Also, this is a different excerpt from my upcoming book, so you definitely want to pause to read if you're trying to get your life. Keep in mind that this upcoming book, this sequel, is following up the first book that is already released called Zoraxia, Wrath of the God King. I released it a few years ago. It was my introduction to writing fantasy and stuff, so just go easy on me. But either way, as you can see here, it's given 4.9 stars. It's given 4.9 stars. So yeah, check out Zoraxia, Wrath of the God King while you wait for Zoraxia, The Vengeance of Coldwind, right? And go to Zoraxia.com, sign up, join the wait list, get your free chapter. Thank you so much.